better social dancers and connecting to the music.
Better social dancing, yes. So we had like
Uh,
hygiene and being more courteous, not just grabbing people. So actually
Definitely.
asking someone to dance. Hygiene,
Hmm.
cleanliness, more courtesy.
Hmm.
What
Watching
else
out for
were we
our
saying?
internal biases
Yes, internal
on,
biases, connecting more with music,
yeah,
not worrying. What
absolutely.
one thing that you said that I really like is not worrying about what you look like. Stop
Yes,
being concerned about how you look when you dance and concentrate more on how you feel.
absolutely. Super important. I mean, I think obviously what we're doing is a visual art,
Mm.
right? And it has to do with your own body and your own appearance. And so a little bit of that is natural and it's unavoidable, right? I think as humans we want to be accepted and we want to be um, you know, noticed. I think that
Hmm.
that's a natural instinct. There's nothing wrong with that, but forget about it because that's not what's important here. You know, the essence of this dance is connecting to the music and um, expressing yourself with your partner and with the music in that moment. So not losing
I
that.
I feel like the looking good will be secondary to feeling good because when you're dancing and you're connecting well and you get to a certain level where you're understanding and interpreting really well, then you'll look like you're enjoying yourself and people will definitely notice that.
Absolutely. I agree 100%.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of like anything. It's like we truly desire to be. I mean, I feel that we're more attracted to true authenticity in
Hmm.
all realms of life. I'm sure some people don't give a crap about that, but I think in general, we are drawn to things that are real, right?
Mm.
And so if you bring that into your dancing, it's gonna have a more attractive power and essence to it as well because it's real. If you're
Do you
if you're
think that we have a tendency to seek that out because there is a lot of fake things happening in our world?
Absolutely. I mean, social media is a huge factor for like putting on appearances
Catfishing.
and yes, that show is amazing actually. Um, but it's crazy to see the lengths that people go to be someone that they're not, but for different reasons.
Yeah.
Um, But yeah, I think that social media plays a huge role. I think it's undeniable. I think that social media can be used as a really powerful tool. Again, we're seeing
Hmm.
that now in my country, how social media has become like a source of resistance and
Hmm.
information sharing. But it also has an extremely superficial level, right?
Mm.
Um, it's got an extremely fake level to it where it's like okay, we pick and choose, we curate exactly what we want to present as our true selves online.
Hmm.
And, I think some people are maybe a little bit more vulnerable than others, but there's this, feeling that we have to live up to everyone's perfection
Hmm.
online, right? And so then everyone feels that they have to constantly be performing and looking their best and being their best all the time in their real lives when it's just not
It's not
reasonable, right?
realistic.
It's not realistic exactly. So
Mm.
it's like, I think that we do need to think about the role that social media plays in our dance lives because if you think I've been dancing for a minute, so it's like, when I first started going to socials, there wasn't a focus on videoing, as
Hmm.
in the way that there is today. You
Hmm.
know, um, there were videos, I'm not that old, but um, it's now it's like the focus is to get the video, right? To get
Hmm.
the recap video, to get all the perfect performance videos, perfect social dancing videos to the point where, I often promoters will like, it's like match.com for videos, like on the social floor. They're like, oh, at this time, come down and make sure that you dance with such and such other performer, and we're going to film it so that we have it for our recap. And it's like, well, that takes part of the connection away, unless you kind of just ignore ignore it
It
and just
feels
do it
too
because
orchestrated then.
yeah, and then you're like, okay, this is my job. It's fine. But it's like and then you feel silly for complaining that you're getting paid to dance with like another really amazing dancer. But it just feels weird, right? It feels like, okay, somewhere deep down, I'm not sure if this person really wants to be dancing with me right now.
Yeah.
you know? So, I think, and all of that is for social media, right?
Mm.
The more followers that these, events have and that each individual dancer has, the more they'll get hired, the more people will come to their events. It's a game of numbers
Mm.
always. And I've fallen into that, obviously, like I'm human, and so it's not like I've never thought about my social media numbers. It's a real thing, right? We care about
Of
these
course.
things because again, it goes back to that validation. But I think at the end of the day, you have to decide what's important to you. And if it's really just like, how cool do I look? Then great, keep worrying about that. But if it's really like, what impact am I making on people's lives?
Mm.
That's something that is really important to me, not only in what I do with my social media, but how I interact with people at events and in my day-to-day life, right? I think that there's this like trend happening. Again, I'm speaking for the experiences that I've had in the events
Yeah.
that I go to, um, where there's this like celebrity status um, that has become super normal at events where it's like the artists are like above everybody else. And I just hate that shit so much. It drives me crazy and it feels really inauthentic for me. And while I do, I obviously, I've been performing in the scene for years and I've made friends and I have friends in the performance that are performers as well and, super famous ones and while I want to hang out with them, I also am like, but we got to hang out with everybody else as well because it just seems silly to
Mm.
me. There's like this false sense of celebrity that exists in this community that I think goes to people's heads really easily and um, kind of affects everything in a negative way, in my opinion,
Yeah.
and affects like the social dancing, affects the vibe, affects the impact that
Mm.
people are having on others' lives. So that's something that I really is really important to me. So for example, something that I take very seriously is if I um, am on the social floor, I'm available to dance, period.
Hmm.
Again, with common courtesy, please be
As long as they
like
ask nicely and
kind.
don't breathe on your face.
Yeah. I mean, it'll still happen, but like, I still get grabbed, there's the wrist grab and there's the like kind of like waist grab that's it feels icky to me and that's going to keep happening, although I hope it doesn't. But if I'm on the dance floor, I'm available to dance. And if I say no to you, it's because I literally have to go to the bathroom or get a sip of water or I'm done for the night.
Mm.
Or I need a break and I'm like
Hmm.
literally walking out the door. Because that is part of my job. And I do, it's a balance, right? Because it's like, we're then talking about like, okay, you've got to treat us like humans. We're not just
Mm.
your dancing puppets, but also I'm, I'm not above you. So it's like, it's kind of a balance because if you get hired to an event, people do want to social dance with you. And so, yes, there's a demand, but which it would be great if we get treated well,
Hmm.
but then also I think that a lot of it's kind of become common for a lot of professionals to just kind of hang out by the DJ booth and sip their cocktails, and it's great. I have nothing against you hanging out with your friends and drinking. I do it too, but um, if I'm on the dance floor, I'm available to dance. And if I need a break, I leave the room.
Mm.
So um, that's kind of a rule that I have with myself. It's not a rule, it's just like I hate saying no unless I have
Yeah.
a legit reason to say no. So to dancing.
Hmm.
So let's be clear. uh, so
I'm writing all
yeah,
this
so it's
down.
like, oh God. You asked me if there was something you couldn't ask. I should have asked you if there's something I can't say. um, so yeah, I don't know. I think it's just common courtesy on both ends
Yeah.
to make social dancing stay as special as it can be. Yeah, that's another thing that I'm very passionate about. If this is like a
You're a
list of
passionate
Isabel's
woman.
passions, I truly believe, and I say this to my students all the time, the day that I stop learning is the day that I should stop teaching. Because um, number one, uh, just as important as it is to learn the history of what we are doing and where, you know, these dances and music is rooted, we
Hmm.
also have to understand that it's going through immense evolution all the time, right?
Hmm.
I mean, the whole word salsa in itself implies fusion.